E3 is always an exciting time for gamers. As much as we harp on E3 for sucking a lot and the major gaming industry for usually botching their E3 conferences, I still love seeing all of the cool trailers that come out of it to be hyped for all the new games. Last year's E3 sucks, so let's see how 2018 fares for each developer holding a conference. For this video, I will be going through each conference, describing what they showed and how they showed it. I will give them a grade based on these three categories: the presentation as an entertaining piece of media by itself, the trailers for the games presented, and the hype that I feel after said conference. EA. Oh, EA. Starting us off badly as usual, I see. So first off, they beat around the bush for 20 minutes about Star Wars Battlefront 2's shaky start. Shaky start? Try one of the biggest video game controversies of 2017, let's be real. The only thing they announced for Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the inclusion of Star Wars The Clone Wars characters, which is cool, I guess, if I cared about Star Wars Battlefront 2 in the first place. Next up, they showed a game called Unravel 2, and damn do I love the look of this game. Unravel 2 has the aesthetic I love when it comes to modern 2D platformers. I'm also a sucker for modern 2D platformers that have working co-op systems. It reminds me a bit of a co-op version of Limbo in a way, which is something I'll definitely go for. I was also stoked to hear that the game was released the day of the conference. I gotta say, I was really charmed by this one. I wish I could say the same thing about the next game they showed, Sea of Solitude. When they had the girl come out and talk about her game, I was just a tad bit endeared by her. I loved the passion that she showed for the game that she wanted to create, but I had one problem with her presentation. As she talked for, in my opinion, way too long about the look, feel, and concept of the game, there was one lingering question that plagued my mind as she spoke. So what do you actually do in this game? When they showed the trailer for the game, I was awaiting my answer, but I can safely say that I never got it. The trailer shows nothing more than the aesthetic of the game and the main character running through these different environments, but nothing of what the player will actually be tasked to do in the game itself. I was left very schmeh when it came to this title. What they did after they showed their Madden and their NBA was something that I'll never know why they thought it was a good idea. They had an esports-esque match on stage live with commentators of a mobile strategy game where all the players really had to do was tap their phone screens until they win. This went on, without exaggeration, for almost 15 minutes. Mind you, they never told the audience what the game was at this point in time, so audience members as well as online viewers are left wondering at why the hell we're watching this for so damn long if it's just a mobile game. Even when the two players leave the stage, they have a certain tone in their voice that says to me, it was certainly a mobile game, and that's about it. Nothing special. They reveal after all of this that it's a mobile command and conquer game. Not that I really know what the modern gamer is hype about or anything, but I'm pretty sure Command & Conquer is not a game series that would generate enough hype for people to go like, wow, a Command & Conquer mobile game? Fuck yeah! So yeah, that was a completely horrible idea. After that monstrosity, we get to the trailer and discussion that everyone was apparently there for. Anthem. Call me out of touch, but I really don't see the appeal of a game that looks like your average sci-fi shooter. It looks like any other Halo or Destiny, if you ask me. I wasn't very impressed by the trailer, and I didn't stick around for the discussion afterwards because I was way too bored with what they showed and didn't really care what they had to say. Well, that was the EA conference. How did they size up? The show itself was so boring. Whenever people talked, they talked for way too long and didn't just get to the trailers. The showmanship was given to the wrong games, like the Command & Conquer mobile game, and overall was just a very boring conference to listen to. In the category of the entertainment value of the presentation, I give EA a D. As for the quality of the content shown, I don't feel like any of the games they showed were a waste of time, other than the Command & Conquer game. But I was also not very impressed by any of the games that they showed. The only game I was impressed by was Unravel 2. In the category of the quality of the content shown, I give EA a D. Now, the hype that EA created. I will start out by saying that EA gave absolutely no hype in this E3. I was excited about none of the games that were shown in this conference, and the one game that I was excited about, Unravel 2, came out the day of the conference, killing all hype. In the category of hype, EA gets an F, giving EA an overall grade of a D-. EA wasn't a very good start, but let's see how things go when it comes to Microsoft. Next up, we got Microsoft. If I remember correctly, they didn't do too well last year. Not many games that they showed off were games that people were really excited for. It seems that this year, things have changed. Microsoft has stepped up their game to just announcing a new updated console and actually started showing some games. Now, when it comes to major company conferences like this one, Sony, and the PC Gaming Show, I'm going to just go through the games that they showed off, unless something happened in the middle of their show that catches my attention. It'll just be easier this way, since these conferences are more trailer heavy than when it's just one developer. First up, we got Halo Infinite. Let me tell you that Halo is one of those weird series for me. I own Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4, yet I've only really played through about half of the first Halo. I don't know what draws me to actually buy these games. I guess I just appreciate the Halo series, but I guess not enough to play through them. Anyway, I can't really gauge anything cool from this trailer. It just shows some driving and Master Chief, nothing really hype-inducing. Next, we got Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Another 2D platformer with a beautiful aesthetic and some really cool looking mobility. Gimme, 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 gimme. I just want it in my non-existent Xbox One right fucking now. Next up is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This seems like a nice little hack and slash game. It really does seem like a combination of the original God of War games and Dark Souls. Nothing too special about this one, and I can see people forgetting about this trailer completely in about a few months. No real hype here. Next up, Fallout 76. I've never really been into the Fallout series at all, so I really don't care, but I know a lot of people were hype about this game being announced pre-E3. The trailer looks fine, doesn't really show much, mostly scenery, so again, another schmeh trailer. Next up, we got The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Now, this is one that endeared me to the nth degree. I love the idea of taking a little kid's playtime and making it into a video game, especially when it has you donning a child's idea of a superhero persona. This game looks like it could be filled with not only a tons of imagination, but also deep and interesting storytelling based off of what we see between the boy and his father. This is one I see so much potential in. I'm wondering if I've missed anything though, because it says that it's in the Life is Strange universe, and I've never played Life is Strange. Whatever the case, I probably will be picking this up, especially since it's free. Next up is Crackdown 3. I love this fucking trailer. Literally take Terry Crews' character from the Old Spice commercials, give him his own video game, instant hilarity. The game looks pretty good too. I'm not sure if I'd pick this one up, but hey, if they keep up this kind of advertising, then fuck yeah, I'll pick it up. Next up, we got Nier Automata Become as Gods Edition. Not really much to say here, it's just a re-release of Nier Automata with all of its DLCs. Nothing too special to note. Next up, Metro Exodus. I've never really played anything in the Metro series, and the reason for that is because, just like this one, it just kind of seems like your typical action shooter game. Once again, nothing too special. You're definitely going to see a trend with me in shooter games like these. Chances are I'm not going to like them very much, so just keep that in mind as we move forward. Next is Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. One of the biggest hype creators at E3. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. Boasting the worlds from Frozen, Pirates of the Caribbean, Monsters Inc., Tangled, and Toy Story, this is shaping up to look like a really well done game. It may even finally convince me to play through the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games myself. Next up, Sea of Thieves Cursed Sails and Sea of Thieves Forsaken Shores. Not much to say since the trailer is nothing but a cinematic cartoon of the characters within the game. It kind of reminded me of watching a Clash of Clans trailer, just basically a cartoon to promote the game. Next up is Battlefield 5, another game series I never actually played. I gotta say, based off of this trailer and what I know of the Battlefield games, I couldn't believe this was a Battlefield trailer. Usually when I see stuff of Battlefield, it's just non-stop COD-like warfare with really nothing more than that. This seems like it's going to be a cinematic type game, which is weird, at least for me. I could just be wrong and I guess a little bit prejudiced, so feel free to put me in my fucking place in the comments below about that. Next up, Forza Horizon 4. Just a car game to me. I think it's kind of cool that the hub world is a massively multiplayer one, but not enough for me to actually want a driving game. Sorry, just not my cup of tea. After this, we take a break from the trailers to talk about the companies taken into the Microsoft company's name. I'm sorry, but yawn, I really don't care. Back to the trailers. We got We Happy Few. I gotta say, this one caught my attention. The tone of the story is like something out of a BioShock game, especially the first BioShock. I'm really interested to see where this game's story goes, and the gameplay doesn't really seem that bad either. This is one that I plan on buying. Next up is yet another trailer for PUBG. Don't really care, not a game I enjoy. Next. Moving on to anime. This game is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Never got super into the Tales series, but this game looks promising enough. Not really much else to say, so let's move on. Ooh, typography. How interesting to watch for a game trailer. Along with this typography trailer, we also get some gameplay footage of the game in question, The Division 2. I'm not very impressed. It really wasn't that interesting to watch, and it doesn't really look like that much fun to play. It kind of makes me a little upset considering, spoiler alert, we're going to see this game pop up again at E3 at least one more time. Next up, they talk about the new service known as the Xbox Game Pass. I don't really know how to feel about this service here. I'm a very traditional person when it comes to purchasing video games. I love holding a physical copy in my hand and seeing the disc and the box art and the manual when they still existed. I just like seeing all of the exterior graphic design the packaging has to offer. It's a nice bonus to the game that we just purchased. With this service, that all disappears. What the Xbox Game Pass service does is it's kind of like a monthly service where you have access to hundreds upon hundreds of games to choose from. It's almost like Netflix, but with games. We ain't getting small titles on this service either. They show that they will have the Halo collection as well as Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls Online on it. I get it, but all I'm saying is that I'm afraid services like this will catch on and then there will be no such thing as physical copies of games anymore. Just call me old-fashioned, I guess. After this, we get our first trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Watching this, I said the same thing I said when the original Tomb Raider reboot came out. I love how the Uncharted series ripped off the original Tomb Raider, and then Tomb Raider turned around and started ripping off the Uncharted series. Anyway, the game looks fine, just your average Uncharted-esque adventure game. Nothing too fancy to note here. I may pick it up, I may not. Who knows. Next, we got Session. All they show is a dude riding a skateboard with Eminem playing in the background. Cool, I guess. Kinda wish it was Skate 4. Next up, Black Desert, the MMORPG. Not really a huge fan of MMOs myself, so I didn't really feel anything with this trailer, especially since this just looks like your typical World of Warcraft / Elder Scrolls Online with a dash of God of War. Nothing too interesting to know, just your typical deep woman's voice telling of the battle throughout the land spiel you always hear. Next up is, oh fuck yes, this is fucking amazing. Devil May Cry 5 is the first game in the Microsoft conference that I can say truly got the hype brewing inside of me. I think Nero looks great, his attitude reminds me of the reason why I love Devil May Cry so much, and damn, I think I like Dante's older look. The gameplay looks fucking amazing. The sense of humor, great. Everything about this has me excited. Next up is the new Cuphead DLC. Cuphead the Delicious Last Course. A new level pack featuring a third playable character, Miss Chalice. Seems cool enough. Can't wait to play the new level pack. Next up, Tunic. This game looks like a cute Legend of Zelda style adventure. Not much to really impress me though, so I'm gonna have to give this game a pass. Next up, Jump Force. I love these Shonen Jump crossover games, and this one looks interesting. I'm really hoping for a story mode for this one. As both a casual fan of One Piece and a fanatic of Dragon Ball, I'm eagerly awaiting this game, especially since that final shot of Light Yagami and Ryuk has me intrigued. Next up, Dying Light 2. Never played the first Dying Light, and all this trailer really shows is the aesthetic, so once again, I don't have any thoughts either way with this one. Once again, they show gameplay from one of the levels, and I like the first-person parkour system, but I'm not very impressed yet. Oh well. Next, we got Battletoads. I love how the sense of humor of this trailer is like that of Deadpool. I can't wait to hear about all the Battletoads calls GameStop will start getting again. Unfortunately, we didn't see any gameplay of this, but it's cool to know that it's happening. Moving on, we have Just Cause 4. This game I'm pretty excited for. I've never played the Just Cause games myself, but I have watched Mikey G play a considerable amount of Just Cause 3, and it looks fun as fuck. This may just be my first Just Cause game. Next up, Gears of War 5. Once again, I never played much into the Gears of War series. I've only played the first Gears of War, but unlike Halo, this isn't some weird thing. It's just because the first one is all that I own. I'm excited to see that the Gears of War series is not dead, and I can't wait to try my best to complete all the games before this one comes out. Finally, that's the end of the Microsoft conference. Damn, we got through a lot of games right here. That was about 50 trailers we went through. I'm sorry if my thoughts on each trailer seemed a bit brief and maybe a little redundant, but hey, I gave the games the same treatment that Microsoft gave them. It really was just one after the other, and boy howdy was it tiring after a while. Let's get right to the grading. For the entertainment value of the event, I'm going to have to give Microsoft a C-. There really was nothing interesting about the conference. No shows, no stunts, just Microsoft showing off the many trailers that they had. But damn, did it get tiring watching trailer after trailer. The only reason I graded this higher than EA was because there wasn't anything here that I considered a bad idea, and I like their cut the bullshit, just show the games approach that they gave to this conference. As for the quality of the content shown, I give Microsoft a B-. There were a lot of games that I didn't care about that were shown, but when something good came on, it was pretty fucking good. As for the hype created, I will give Microsoft a B. It gave me some hype for some of the games like Gears of War 5, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, and even Captain Spirit. More than I can say for EA. Overall, that gives Microsoft a grade of a B-. Pretty damn good, Microsoft. You really outdid yourselves. Let's see how Bethesda does in the next conference. Next up is the Bethesda conference. Now, I may have a bit of a bias here because I really do not like Bethesda. I don't like their company attitude, I don't like their games very much, I don't like the way they remake Skyrim 42,000 times. Bethesda is a company that is going to have to do a lot to impress me. So how does Bethesda start out? By sucking their own dicks. For the first 3 minutes of the conference, Bethesda literally shows a presentation saying how great and important they are. Points deducted. So after they give their hellos and thank yous to the gaming community, as every company does, what do? If it was their first game, you'd be wrong. They bring out Andrew WK to perform music. Why? Why did you do this? I mean, he's good. It's not like the music was horrible, but there's literally no reason for Andrew WK to be here. Well, after that, we finally get our first game of the conference, Rage 2. Before I get into the trailer, can I say how cringy this moment was?
And as we're about to show you, they delivered big time.
Well, thank you, Tim. Yeah! Well, speaking for everyone at Avalanche Studios.
God, that hurts. Now, into Rage 2. They show their little aesthetics trailer and then get right into showing the gameplay. The gameplay looks nice, once again your typical looking action shooter. There is one huge complaint that I have. They showed the gameplay for way too long in my opinion. I was watching this conference and during this portion I started playing some Spyro 3. I looked back way later and this was still going. I shouldn't have to ask the question, is this still going in my head while watching a trailer? It literally goes on for 8 minutes. Next, they talk about new updates for the Elder Scrolls mobile card game, Elder Scrolls Somerset. I guess that's cool if you're into the Elder Scrolls card game, which I know some people are, but I personally am not. Once again, they go on for way too long about this update. They have a guy talk about it for a while, and then they show another trailer for it. Well, after an 8-minute discussion about an update, we move on. Now, this next trailer got me fucking pumped. Doom Eternal. Doom is one of, if not, my favorite shooter game ever. I used to play the original Doom for literal hours at a time. And when they showed the 2016 reboot, I was stoked. I still haven't bought it due to money reasons and memory reasons, but when Mikey G came over my house and made me try it, I was already hooked. I couldn't stop. I cannot wait for Doom Eternal. The next thing they showed is Quake Champions. It looks good enough for a team and class-based shooter, but I don't think it'll really compete with the likes of Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch. But hey, more Quake is always welcome in my book. Next up is Prey Mooncrash. Was Prey successful? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments below. I feel like I heard it was bad, but I really don't know. Anyway, next they brought up Wolfenstein 2 being released on the Switch, which is cool, I guess. But then they reveal the next game in the Wolfenstein series, Wolfenstein Youngblood. It seems like a really cool idea. It stars BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters fighting the good fight, and I'm always a sucker for a Wolfenstein game. Can you tell that I like id Software? Next, they touch upon new VR titles. Let me just say, I'm glad someone brought up VR games at E3. I feel like the gaming industry is kind of forgetting about VR, especially the PlayStation VR. And I feel like that's a damn shame because it can really innovate the way that we play games if utilized correctly. After this, they bring out Todd Howard, and boy howdy does he make the last 40 minutes of this conference entertaining to listen to. He was the only person that spoke in the entirety of E3 that didn't sound like he was carefully placing his words for the sake of the company. He called all of his fans degenerates for crying out loud. This guy is awesome. The first trailer he presents is for Skyrim Very Special Edition. I am so hyped to play this game on the Amazon Alexa of all places. This is innovation. For real, this was a really funny joke that Bethesda had created with the ever-talented Kegel, Mike, and Key of Key and Peele fame. I would love to see more companies joke around like this because it has the potential to create some really memorable moments at future E3s. Next up, they show a more detailed trailer for Fallout 76, as well as the answer to some of the most burning questions that fans have had about the game. The game is an MMORPG Fallout game, which sounds like an interesting concept, I suppose. Again, I'm not too big into MMOs myself. The thing I appreciate, however, is that they kept the single-player option open for those who want to have a solo experience. That is how things should be done for future franchise-based MMOs, especially if they are important in the franchise's lore. I can appreciate their decision to do this, even if I probably won't play the game myself. Again though, they talk way too long about this game. I know it's the game that everyone and their mother wanted to hear about, but we're talking 20 minutes here. They also mentioned the Nintendo Switch release of Fallout Shelter, didn't even know that game existed. Next, they show the Elder Scrolls Blades, an Elder Scrolls mobile game. It looks like a watered-down Skyrim put on the phone. I'm really not that impressed by it. The only good thing that Mr. Howard over here had to say about it was that it looked really good for a phone game. They finish up their conference by announcing 2 more games, one of which I'm hyped for, and the other I couldn't really care less. The first one, is the one that I couldn't care less about, is Starfield. All they show is that it's a bunch of space whatever and eclipses and stars, and okay, it's probably about space, but what else? I get that it's just a teaser, but I feel like if you're going to show a new IP, at least have a tiny trailer showcase what the game is all about before announcing it. It's not like it's the second game that they announced, which I am pretty hyped for. The Elder Scrolls 6. I'm hyped for this game for 2 reasons. The first reason is, as much as I rag on the game, I do have an appreciation for Skyrim and Oblivion, and I do think that they are good games. I just don't think they're as amazing as everyone else makes them out to be. The second reason I'm excited for this is because this means that they are finally ready to move on from Skyrim. I was so sick of seeing Skyrim remakes every year being given the same hype as when it was first announced in 2011. With Elder Scrolls 6 marks the end of the Bethesda conference. How did they do? When it comes to the entertainment value of the conference, I'm going to have to give them an F. I'm sorry that I had to give them a failing grade, but as much as I love Todd Howard's way of speaking and his sense of humor, I can't get over the fact that they talked for way too long about each game that they presented. I know 8 minutes doesn't sound like a long time to be talking about a game, but when you're anticipating other trailers that could have something better or mind-blowing, those 8 minutes really start to drag. And 20 minutes of Fallout 76 is just overkill in my opinion. This could have easily been a 45-minute conference, but they just dragged everything out. When it comes to the quality of the content that they showed, I'll give them an A-. They didn't show much, but what they did show was good. They even got me super hyped for 2 games, and again, Bethesda is a company I don't particularly like. As for the hype Bethesda gave me, I'll have to give them another A-. Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and Quake Champions has me hyped, and when basically half of the games you showed make me this hype, you have a good grade in my book. That brings Bethesda's overall grade to a B. They showed some great trailers there, but they just didn't have the pacing to back it up. Still, the best conference so far. Let's see how Square Enix competes. Moving on to Square Enix with a very short conference. The rest of the conferences were at least an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but this one's only about 40 minutes, so this section should be short. Starting out, they show another trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider with a bit more explanation about the game itself and some gameplay, which looks pretty par for the course, nothing too special to see here. Next up, we got Stormblood, Final Fantasy XIV Online, which they show minimal gameplay for. Not that I play Final Fantasy XIV in the first place. Next up, we have Final Fantasy XIV Online Cross Monster Hunter World. A Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter crossover sounds pretty damn good to me. Can't wait to watch gameplay of it. They showed more of the awesome adventure of Captain Spirit with a bit more explanation as to what the game is all about. I'm still endeared by this game and I still want it. Next was the trailer for Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. I gotta say, I love the Toriyama-esque feel the 3D models have, and the overall aesthetic was really nice so far. The next trailer we get to look at is the one for Babylon's Fall. They don't really show anything other than a history lesson of their world, so nothing really to say about it. Then they show Nier Automata Become as Gods Edition again. I really don't think they needed to repeat this one. Octopath Traveler is one of those games that shows up at every E3 or Nintendo Direct, and I say to myself, that game isn't out yet? It looks good, but I'm not sure if I'll actually buy it. I'm not really a big RPG guy myself. It looks really nice though. Next up, they go into more detail about Just Cause 4, which just makes my hype for the game increase. Next, they have a short trailer for a game called The Quiet Man. Am I the only one who looked at this trailer and was really hoping it was another Deus Ex game? Oh well, guess I'll just have to wait another few years for the next one to suddenly appear like Mankind Divided did. Then comes the trailer everyone was waiting for, Kingdom Hearts 3. Unfortunately, this is almost the exact same trailer we saw at the Microsoft conference, so there really isn't much more to say about the game, which is kinda unfortunate. Usually when they repeat trailers, especially when it's the developers conference, they go into more detail, like with the Fallout 76 and Just Cause 4. They kinda just dropped the ball with Kingdom Hearts 3. With that, brings the end of the Square Enix conference. Wow, this one was a real shorty boy, but does it stack up with the long boys? Let's go with the grading, shall we? For the entertainment value of the conference, I give Square Enix a C+. They really treated this conference like a Nintendo Direct. They didn't have anyone on stage talking. Most of the talking was part of a pre-recorded video, which was fine. It was made so that it was a no-nonsense conference that showed everything they wanted to show off, and because of that, they didn't suffer from a slug's pace like Bethesda did. I give it a C+, just because it was kind of a middle-of-the-road conference. For the quality of the content shown, I'd have to give Square Enix an A. I like just about everything that they showed here. Nothing I was really bored by except for Babylon's Fall and Nier Automata's re-release, but even then, it was still cool to watch. For the hype category, I'll give Square Enix a C+. There really wasn't anything that I was super excited for, just intrigued by. The only game I'm really excited for is Kingdom Hearts 3, and they didn't really show anything that Microsoft didn't already show. That brings Square Enix's overall grade to a B+. Good job, Square Enix. You are the best so far. Let's see what Ubisoft has to bring to the table. Let's move right on to Ubisoft and... What the fuck? Oh, it's Just Dance 2019. Is it weird that saying that this was just a giant commercial for Just Dance makes it all make sense? I look forward to just seeing the track set and never actually purchasing this game myself. What a wonderful way to start off the show, though. Then they showed a trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2, which seems pretty interesting. I love the world that they showed, but once again, no gameplay. Mikey G will probably be pretty excited, as I seem to remember him liking the first Beyond Good and Evil. Oh, hi, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What's good? I love the idea of having Hit Record collaborate with a video game, let alone a big title like Beyond Good and Evil 2. I feel like that could get some good, fresh talent in the video game industry. I wish the people who participate luck. Let's see some esports people sucking their own dicks for a little bit with a trailer for a film about Rainbow Six Siege players called Another Mindset. Next up, we got... Holy shit, this is Merca as fuck! And he has an accent. How ironic. Though we do get a trailer for a new Trials game called Trials Rising. It looks as good as every other Trials game. I can't wait to wipe out in the most hilarious ways over and over again. Next up is The Division 2. This game is going to tie into something that I have a huge problem with in this entire E3, but I'll bring it up later. Once again, just your typical army shooter that you'd expect from Tom Clancy's franchise. Next up is something that I thought was gonna be Rayman, but then delivered so much more than I was expecting. They showed the trailer for Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure, but they didn't just show the trailer. They performed live music with rare composer Grant Kirkhope. Grant Kirkhope is one of those guys that just makes me smile whenever I see him, whether it was in that one Guest Grumps video, any interaction he has with the completionist, or even just reading his tweets on Twitter. Plus, hearing his trademark sound being played live was something to behold. This was amazing. Fuck yeah. Next up was a trailer for a competitive ship fighting game called Skull and Bones. This just looks like either the ship battling portions of Assassin's Creed 4 made into a game, or Guns of Icarus, except pirates. Elijah Wood? A new spooky VR game, huh? Fuck yeah, I'm super interested to see what Transference has to offer. Hey look, that weird spaceship Skylanders-esque game that was announced and everybody forgot about. What could they possibly show that could sway people to buy it now? Are you actually serious? They put Fox McCloud in this weird game? Alright. Cool, I guess. I also appreciate how they kinda like give Miyamoto this figure and then just kidnap him where he's never to be seen again. What the hell did they do to Miyamoto-sensei? Next up, we have For Honor Starter Edition. The trailer didn't show anything gameplay-wise, just looked like a bunch of dudes fighting. So I'm gonna say, whatever on this one. For Honor Marching Fire also had the same type of trailer, but I can appreciate taking wares from all different time periods from all over the world. Seems like an interesting concept. Now we got The Crew 2, taking racing games to a whole new level where you can race anything. Just another racer. Not too excited. Now here comes the big boy. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Remember back in the beginning of the Microsoft conference I said Halo was one of those weird series for me where I owned a lot of the games but I haven't played any of them? Assassin's Creed is also one of those series for me. I own Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and Assassin's Creed 3, but I've only played the multiplayer of Brotherhood and Revelations. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, but that's just how it is. I do love the world Assassin's Creed has created, however, and I love the idea of going into ancient Greece. I also think it's pretty cool that you can choose between a male or female assassin in this game. And that's that for the Ubisoft conference. Let's see how they did. As for the entertainment value of the conference, I'd have to give it a solid B-. Even though the live performance from both the dancers in the beginning of the conference and Grant Kirkhope were probably the best performances shown at E3 so far, Ubisoft has the same kind of problem that Bethesda had with their conference. They went on for way too long about some of the games that they showed. I get that they want to go into detail, but I don't think 3 trailers for Assassin's Creed Odyssey was necessary. Just stick to 1 trailer per game, guys. How about the quality of the games shown here? I'd have to give them a B- on that as well. There was nothing here that really stood out to me. It's cool that we're getting another Beyond Good and Evil and a new Assassin's Creed, but nothing really burst with an amazing sense of quality to me. As for the hype that this conference gave me, I'd have to give it a C. I wasn't hating anything that they showed, but at the same time, I'm not really hyped for any of the games that were shown here. I'm interested in some, yes, but hype? I don't think so. That brings Ubisoft's overall grade to a B-. Not bad, Ubisoft. You're as good as Microsoft. How does PC gaming compete? Let's find out.
This is the PC Gaming Show.
Next up is the PC Gaming Show. I'm going to start this out by saying that I'm not a huge PC gamer, so again, I may be a bit biased here. I love how the introduction to this conference is basically just a long-winded way of saying PC Master Race. So instead of going into the show, just like Microsoft, I'm going to be rapid-fire talking about trailers because there are a ton of them. The first game we have here is Satisfactory. It just seems like another build-your-own blank simulator. I'm not really crazy about these crafting games where you start out with a stick and end with a factory. It's just not my cup of tea. Next up is NeoCab. I think the art style on this one looks like that of a mediocre Newgrounds Flash game. Also, what is this game? Is it adventure style, visual novel, something else? The trailer barely gives us anything to go by. Next up is Maverick's Proving Grounds. This seems like a typical PUBG clone, nothing too special here. Next up is Forgotten City. This game certainly looks interesting. I get a Lovecraftian feel from this game, but it looks like one of those games where all you do is wander around and not really do much else but take in the atmosphere. Next up, we got Star Control Origins, another mass exploration space game. I'm not going to say that I'm getting No Man's Sky vibes from this, but also it looks like just a huge exploration game. At least there seems to be entertaining life forms to speak with, and hell, there may even be a story to this game. However, it really hasn't piqued my interest. Next up is Hunt Showdown, yet another battle royale type of game. Nothing too special of note. Next up, Archangel Hellfire, a free-roaming PvP mech battle game. Sounds interesting enough, but probably won't end up playing it. Next up, they talk about Sherlock Holmes and the Sinking City. I kinda wish they showed a standalone trailer, but I do like the idea of a Sherlock Holmes game that emphasizes the investigation part of the story. Sounds like an interesting puzzle game from what the developer described. Next is Warframe Sacrifice. Never played a single Warframe game, and this small trailer has not convinced me. A wild, angry Joe has appeared! Moving on, we have just a small collection of games Sega will be releasing on PC, like the first two Shenmues, Bayonetta, and Valkyria Chronicles. Then they move on to some world premieres, such as Yakuza Kiwami, Valkyria Chronicles 4, and Yakuza 0. Weirdly enough, nothing about Sonic. I'm just surprised when Sega goes through a single conference without mentioning Sonic. Next up, we have an extension for Killing Floor 2. Looks fun enough, not really convincing me to get Killing Floor 2, however. Next is Maneater, and this is the first game that I watched during this conference that I was like, hell yes. An open world action RPG where you play as a shark? Sign me the fuck up. These are the kind of weird ideas I love in the PC gaming industry. Next up, we have Gloam Collective. Can somebody say Tumblr art style? This looks like a college senior project rather than a game that will be released on Steam. I don't know, I wasn't too charmed by this one. Next up is Morning Star. This game had me curious. The beginning would have you believe that it's like a Harvest Moon kind of game, but then it goes into a dark, foreboding room with a computer in it. Gives me the kind of vibe that a game like Pony Island would give, where the game is not what it seems. Next up, Overwhelm. This game looks pretty neat. I'm a sucker for 8-bit aesthetically pleasing games. Moving on to Jurassic World Evolution. Way to cash in on the new movie coming out. I'm glad to see movie games still haven't died. Next up is Stormland, an action-adventure VR game? Fuck yes, I love this idea. I would love to see where WALL-E 2.0 is headed. Makes me really wish I picked up either an Oculus Rift or a Vive. Moving on to Nightcall. Once again, looks like a game I'd find on Newgrounds. Not very impressed. Next trailer is for a game called Sable. God damn did this game look pretty. I think I'll just pick this game up on aesthetics alone. They really impressed me with this one and I can't wait to play it. Star Citizen is the next game to be shown and seems like just another space game. No gameplay as per usual, so let's move out. Hey look, another generic sci-fi shooter called Genesis Alpha 1. I'm starting to sound so bitter at this point. The fucking Drake Duck? What? A new Don't Starve called Don't Starve Hamlet. I never really got into the original Don't Starve game, but a bunch of my friends used to play this game on the daily, so it's cool that it's getting a new game. Here comes yet another trailer for Just Cause 4. Now this is the topic that I really wanted to get into, and I'm sorry if this sounds kind of rambly because this portion is kind of unscripted because I actually forgot to write this part of the script. One of the major complaints I have about this E3 is that there's a lot of repeating trailers, like Kingdom Hearts 3, The Division 2, Just Cause 4, where, you know, each time they show it, maybe they'll show, like, a little bit more each time, but, like, I don't know, if you ask me, I feel like, say, Kingdom Hearts should have just been relegated to the Square Enix conference, and, like, maybe Just Cause 4 can be in the whatever conference they'd be in, like the Ubisoft conference, I think they are, or Sony, I don't remember. You know, delegate it to one conference. Don't, like, spread them out throughout the conferences, because then it just starts to feel redundant. Anyway, back to the scripted part of the video. Moving on to Overkill's The Walking Dead. Yet another generic zombie shooter game, and simultaneously another Walking Dead game. I think just about everybody is sick of the zombie genre now after they beat it into the ground in the early 2010s. Next up, they discuss the final season of Telltale's The Walking Dead, which, damn, I really gotta play these games. I played the beginning of the first episode of it, and I was enjoying all the characters and interactions, but for some reason I just never continued, and that needs to change. Again, I wish there was a trailer for this game rather than just talking about that it's happening. Next up is Noida. This game looks pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me of a Towerfall Rogue Legacy crawl hybrid. I like it. Next up is 2 Point Hospital. I love ear rape! Again, this just seems like Hospital Tycoon, so I think I'll pass. Hey look! Another Battle Royale! This is Realm Royale, which looks just like if Fortnite wanted to rip off Overwatch. Also chickens. Next up is Ooblets. I'm just a slave to Double Fine, so I kind of have to love it at this point. Next up, we have Anno 1880. Not a really big fan of RTS games, so I think I'm just going to pass. Next up, we have Rapture Rejects, a Battle Royale game made by the same guy who made No Time to Explain and Side 9 Happiness web series. Even though I've kind of fell off the Side 9 Happiness train, mostly because I think their humor has faltered into the territory of, let's see how uncomfortable we can make our viewer, instead of actually being funny. But this looks like a pretty fun game. Lastly, we have a trailer about Hitman 2. Never been big into the Hitman series, but I've always been curious. I don't think this trailer has really convinced me though. I'm not sure if it's the trailer's fault or if I'm just feeling fatigued from this conference. With that, the PC gaming show has concluded. Let's give this monster of a conference their grades. For the entertainment value, I'm going to have to grade them an F. Just like Microsoft, they didn't put on any show, they just showed their trailers. But I gotta say, this one felt like it took forever. This is the longest conference in the lineup, being just shy of 2 hours long, and boy howdy does every minute drag. Halfway through the conference, I started tuning out a lot of the stuff they were saying, just waiting for the conference to be over. As for the quality of the content presented, I'd give it a C. There was some stuff in game genres I didn't particularly like, and some stuff that looked interesting, so I'm giving it a middle-of-the-road score for that. As for the hype this conference created, I'm going to give it a C-. I'm not really hyped for any of these games whatsoever, just simply intrigued by just a couple of them. I understand that some of these games are indie games, so how could they compete with like an actual huge developer? But I feel like the indie game scene could have so much more promise than this. Oh well. That brings the PC Gaming Show's overall grade to a D. Didn't do too hot, PC Gaming Show. Better luck next year. Let's see if Sony does any better. Well, now it's time for Sony. Oh boy, am I excited for this one. Sony did so well last year with all the titles they announced, like Spider-Man, Last of Us 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Dragon Ball FighterZ. I can't wait to see how they stack up this year. So first off, we watched this guy on a banjo. Cool. Sure. Why not? This is all leading to a gameplay trailer for The Last of Us 2. With an older, gayer Ellie, we get to see how badass she's truly become. God damn does this game look really fucking good. I really want to play this right now, and I'm also curious to see how Joel fits into the story as well, if he even does. Well, now that we talked about the first Sony game, let's take a brief intermission. Why did they do this? Was it required of them to do this? They have an intermission after showing one trailer? What kind of crap is this? It's pretty sad when you hold an intermission 18 minutes into your hour-and-a-half conference. Next up is some new maps for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I wasn't even aware that Black Ops 3 existed and that they were even coming out with a Black Ops 4. Nor do I care. We also got a VR Tetris game. Whoopee! A vague cinematic trailer for a game called Twin Mirror. Don't care. A VR game called Ghost Giant that looks pretty cute. A rhythm sword game called Beat Saber that looks really fucking cool. They finally decide to end their stupid intermission and show off Destiny 2 Forsaken, which is a game I still don't care about. Hurrah! Another samurai game. Ghost of Tsushima. Looks like a samurai version of The Last of Us, and I'm all about that right now. Potential buy right here. Next up is the remake of Resident Evil 2. I didn't really care when the first one came out, so I really don't care about this one. Not really huge into the Resident Evil series myself. Trover Saves the Universe. I too love Rick and Morty, for I have a high IQ. All jokes aside, I love Justin Roiland's sense of humor, so I'm willing to give this game a look when it releases. I always appreciate stuff from Squanch Tendo. More Kingdom Hearts 3! This time with more pirates! Though they did reveal that on PlayStation 4 only, you can get an all-in-one package of Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, and Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which is pretty sweet. Next up is the game that I've been waiting forever for them to show more on, Death Stranding. I am a huge Hideo Kojima fan. I played through every single Metal Gear apart from 5. Looks like Kojima's trademark weirdness is not lost on this new IP. I can't wait to play through this game to see what Kojima has cooked up. I still want to know the deal with this baby. Next up is Nioh 2. Looks pretty badass from the trailer, but I never really played the first one, so I don't know. Now it's time for some gameplay footage of the new Spider-Man game, and fuck it, I'm still hyped for it. I don't care if it's essentially Spider-Man Arkham Asylum. It really looks like it works, and with the cast of villains here, I'm pretty excited. Rhino, Vulture, Electro with a sweet new look, and this weird Negative Man. I'm fucking down to clown with this game. With that, ends the Sony conference. Wait, for real? Fuck man, that was like nothing! It's not like Sony is a developer like Bethesda or EA. This is a console company showing off almost no world premieres. Most of the conference was talking about stuff we already knew about, like Death Stranding, The Last of Us 2, and Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, it's time to grade you, Sony. For the entertainment value of the conference, I'll give you a C. You tried, but it didn't really deliver. The onstage performances of the banjo guy and the flute guy were cool, I guess, but not really anything interesting to watch. I'm giving them credit, however, for at least trying to do something, unlike Microsoft or PC Gaming Show. For the quality of the content shown, I'll give Sony a B+. Everything they showed looked pretty fantastic, nothing looks bad. As for the hype created, I'm going to have to give Sony a D. Even though there were a lot of games shown that I'm really excited for, the hype is heavily burdened by the fact that most of the games they showed that I was excited about were games that I already knew were happening. Hence, the hype was minimal. This gives Sony an overall grade of a C. After last year's Sony conference, I'm heavily disappointed that Sony did so mediocre this year. Oh well, better luck next year. Next up is the juggernauts themselves and the final conference of E3, Nintendo. Nintendo starts off their conference with a mech fighter? Damn, this looks pretty nice. Daemon X Machina is definitely something I will be keeping my eye on. Next up, we got a DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 called Torna the Golden Country. Not really interested in this one since I never got into the Xenoblade series. Then, My Body is Reggie Fils-Aimé talks about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I really wasn't a fan of Pokemon Go past like the first week of playing, so I don't really think I'll be picking up this Pokemon adventure. Next up is Super Mario Party, and damn! How the hell did they even do this? You can link up multiple Switches together and make one playfield? And it's going back to the original Mario Party formula about that stupid fucking car? Hell yeah! This is one I'm pretty excited for. Obligatory Fire Emblem game. Not really into the series, but Fire Emblem Three Houses looks pretty good. Next up, we got one for the normies. Fortnite on the Switch. I mean, we all knew it was happening, so we gotta give them at least one, I guess. I just really like the idea of Reggie playing Fortnite on his off time like he says he does. Then they talk about a couple of small titles such as Overcooked 2, Killer Queen Black, and Hollow Knight, which look pretty good for indie games on the eShop. Next he gives his small mentions about Octopath Traveler, giving it a release date. Then they give a small montage of games that they wanted to show glimpses of, such as Starlink, Arena of Valor, Minecraft for the Switch, Sushi Striker, Donkey Kong Adventure, Pixark, Just Dance 2019, Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Splatoon 2 expansion, Captain Toad for the Switch, Ninjala, Carcassonne, FIFA 18, Ark, Wasteland 2, Paladins, Fallout Shelter, Dark Souls Remastered, SNK Heroines, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Wolfenstein 2, The World Ends With You Final Remix, Mega Man 11, and Mario Tennis Aces. The rest of the conference was spent on the one game that everyone wanted to know about. The new Super Smash Bros. Game on the Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is how you nail a big reveal, especially one as big as Smash Bros. Firstly, when they were showing the characters that would be in the game, I liked how they showed them one after another, slowly getting everyone to the realization of the big announcement that every single fighter that has ever been in a Smash Brothers game will be returning for this one. Fuck yes! I can finally main Little Mac and still have Snake as my sub! I also like how they introduced the concept of echo characters. I think it sounds a lot nicer than clone characters in my opinion. I also love how they fine-tuned Final Smashes to be something that all players can enjoy, a special cinematic move. All I'm hoping for is that they bring back Luigi's Negative Zone. Just the music for that was so good to listen to when you're feeling weird. Now to the part that everyone was curious about, the new characters. Yes, we already knew that Inklings were going to be in the game due to the reveal teaser they gave us on the last Nintendo Direct, but it was really cool to see how the Inklings would play and how it stays true to how they play in Splatoon. Inklings seem like really complex characters that are really fun to play. Then there's the new Echo character, Princess Daisy, which I knew Pete would be happy about. Also, how about when they showed the assist trophies and damn, they gave Waluigi the boot again. Maybe next time, man. Maybe next time. Then came the biggest announcement Super Smash Bros. Could have had at this particular moment. Ridley is now in Smash. This is amazing. Let's get real for a second here. I watched Nintendo's Direct live, unlike all of the other conferences that I talked about here. I watched the rest of them afterwards, and I was watching this Direct with a bunch of my friends. My buddy Steve, whose name on here is Shattuck2112, go to his channel for sweet metal covers from your favorite video game music and occasional live streams. He was literally crying tears of joy when Ridley came on the screen. Feel free to make fun of him in his comment sections now. This was cool. It's cool to finally see a character that people have been wanting to be in Smash since Melee finally make his Smash debut as a playable character. I kinda wish they announced more newcomers, and I know Sakurai said there wouldn't be that many newcomers this time around, but I still want to know. It's my favorite part about the days leading up to a new Smash game, the newcomer reveals. Anyways, and with that, the Nintendo Direct comes to a close, as well as E3 when it comes to the conferences. Let's get right into the grading. For the entertainment value of the stream, I'm going to give Nintendo an A-. I really feel like the game spoke for themselves on this one, and there was no point where it felt like the presentation dragged because Nintendo knew what was important to spend time on and what wasn't. As for the quality of the games presented, I'm going to have to give Nintendo an A+ on this one. How could you not? Nintendo is known lately for their outstanding quality in games ever since the Switch came out. As for the hype this presentation has brought, I'm going to have to give Nintendo an A. The reason Nintendo gets an A instead of an A+ is because most of the games presented here that they felt they needed to spend time on were all games that were either cool looking or games that I was hyped for. I was unfortunately expecting more information on titles like Metroid Prime 4, but I guess we'll just have to hope for it at the next Direct. That gives Nintendo an overall score of an A, the best of E3 this year. Way to leave it to Nintendo to end us on a high note. That's it for E3, and god damn was it a long ride. I just summed up roughly 10 hours worth of conferences in about 14 or so pages of writing. God damn. Let's see the final standings for our E3 conferences. At the bottom of the bracket, we have EA with a D-. I'm sorry, EA, but your conference was laughably bad. Next up in 7th place, we have the PC Gaming Show. They really just didn't show anything too spectacular here, and there was a lot that I just didn't care for. In 6th place, we have Sony, showing us nothing too spectacular, and the things that were good were stuff that we already knew about. You did great last year, Sony, but I can't say the same about this year. Next up in 5th place, we have Microsoft. Technically, this is tied in the overall grade category with the 4th place spot, but Microsoft gets the 5th place spot because it earned its overall grade through worse grades than the other company. Microsoft, though it was definitely a good conference, it just didn't have anything good in the presentation side of things. Next up in 4th place, we have Ubisoft. Though their announcements weren't all winners, they had great announcements, a great stage presence for the most part, and generated a little bit of hype for me. In 3rd place, we got Bethesda. This is pretty shocking to me because, like I said before, Bethesda is not a company that I particularly like. I gotta say though, the showmanship of Todd Howard, the great comedy sketch that was Skyrim Very Special Edition, and of course, the games announced were good enough to get my 3rd place spot. In second place, we have Square Enix. Square Enix knows that short and sweet is what people really want, which is why I appreciated their 40-minute conference. They didn't have anyone coming out saying how either great they were, or how great the gaming community was, or blah blah blah. They just showed what they showed and moved on. I can respect that. And what they showed was pretty darn interesting. Good job, Square Enix. And the winner of E3, according to me, some guy with a little under 400 subscribers, is Nintendo. Honestly, this was to be expected. They had a new Super Smash Bros. Ready to come out with tons of announcements. How could they not generate hype? The only way they could have possibly lost E3 is if they didn't talk about Smash Bros. But other than Smash Bros., the other games that they showed bits of or gave full trailers for were amazing, and may actually get me into either new IPs or IPs that I've looked over. Good job, Nintendo, it's great to have you back. Well, that's all for my E3 video. I hope you enjoyed it. This E3 had tons of ups and downs, and there were some good conferences, bad ones, boring ones, and confusing ones. But overall, I enjoyed E3 this year. I always love seeing what all of the game companies have to say about the products that they work so hard on producing. What did you think of E3? Am I completely out of touch with modern gaming? Tell me how wrong I am in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next episode of Controller Input, whenever the hell that may come out. Catch you guys later!